Hi everyone, welcome to We Belong Education podcast. Today I am with my co-host Helen. How are you doing, Helen?
Hi, good. How are you?
Good. Helen from Sydney, as always. And today we have a special guest, Beth Robins from Activated OSHC, as a communication officer of Activated OSHC from University of South Australia. Welcome, Beth. How are you doing?
Hello, I'm well, thank you. How are you going?
Perfect. We are recording in 3 different states, it seems. Yes, we've got Queensland, the better state, and is South Australia and Sydney also. So that's nice. We've been planning on
It
this.
wasn't nice. I struggled with the time differences.
Yeah. Oh, yes. It was 3 different time zones. 3 different time zones. Helen sends me a text in the morning to say, I don't have the link. I'm like, yeah, I'm sending you the link in the next half an hour. She said, aren't we starting now-ish? I'm like, hang on. And I started looking at my emails thinking, no, hang on a sec. And that's when I started breathing properly. So, and then she admits that she's not good with time zones. I'm like, yeah, but now I'm having a heart attack. So
this isn't new news to you, Saurubh.
Yeah, it's not new. We've actually missed a few podcasts because of that. So we don't enjoy this. Anyways, we are here now, so I'm glad we made it.
We're all here.
We've been planning on doing this Activated OSHC thing. My recent trips to Adelaide, I've seen Activated OSHC posters in some of the outside school arcade that I've had the chance to go to. Helen was aware of that too. So when we received your email, we were very excited to talk about this. So Beth, without me wasting time, please tell us, what is Activated OSHC? Please.
Of course, fabulous. So Activated OSHC it's a national program in which basically we are backed by 10 years of research, and we're trying to get kids in OSHC to move more. That's exactly what we're doing. To give you a bit more of a background, we're looking at increasing their physical activity so that they can meet the physical activity and screen time guidelines within the OSHC sector.
Right.
But that's overarchingly what we're after.
So in that word, sometimes when we hear the word active, and there's an argument sometimes, what is active? What is an activity? And sometimes people say active is physical active or cognitive active or socially active or emotionally active. Like, what is the stimulant out there? But in here, what we're talking about is, of course, if we are moving away from screen time, you're definitely looking at the physical activity side of outside school arcade children. Yes? Yeah.
Yes,
okay.
You've got it.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And 10 years of research, that's a long research for any project to happen. Yes?
Oh, definitely. So we actually started, as I mentioned, 10 years ago, and it was because the professor who runs the study, Carol Maher, and one of her colleagues at the time were discussing OSHC between themselves. One of them said, going to pick my kids up from OSHC, they'll be on their second movie of the day.
Wow.
And the other one was like, well, mine don't have screen time. Mine have been out and about all day, running, playing. And it kind of highlighted to them that why was there so much variation? If you're thinking 2 kids movies, that could be up to 4 hours of screen time a day.
Yeah.
Compared to some kids who didn't do it.
Yeah.
So that's kind of what instigated the beginning of the project all those years ago. Yeah.
Helen would tell you. Helen, you've seen so many services. Some of them don't have screen, and some of them have screens, and they are really proud of it, isn't it? Helen, what do you reckon?
Yeah, it's one of those things that's really interesting. And it's one thing I love about OSHC is just how diverse it is. But then, that is a huge thing with so I've walked into some services and just the TV being on all the time is a normal thing. And where myself, the services I've run, I think there's enough screen time at home, so I've never really done screen time.
Yeah.
Except for, some projects or things like that. But then, other services are a bit normal. But and it's not necessarily a bad thing. It's just, it is so different. And like I said, it's 2 sides of a coin. It's one thing that I love about it, but also I can see how there could be some challenges in there.
I guess what you mentioned about diversity and how Beth is talking about research, these are the factors we research about, isn't it? What are the factors which affect at us schools or outside school or care ability to provide certain things like the geography, the weather conditions, the amount of resources they have. Because I like to think that research is what brings a possibility forward with its limitations. So this is a possibility. If we do this is possible and potentially available to your service. You don't have to do it, but if you did it, you may get it. And there are limitations, of course. So those I've been to so many services and I've seen some useful use of technology, and also sometimes technology which we could have avoided. So yeah, I'm very excited and interested to know what is all of this. So this is 10 years of research you've done with the team, and I like the way it came up. Like, what is this 4 hours of movies? If it is a second movie, so that's the why behind it. And you've been finding. You told us that there are loads of services now a part of it. What are you finding now?
Yeah, so currently we've got over 2,000 individual users across the nation. So that includes coordinators and educators. We've got over 450 services are a part of the program, so they have signed up. They all have access to the resources, which include everything from the training, but newsletters for the families. There's all sorts of different packs, like activity packs, which we put together for people. So if I don't know what to do with the kids to keep them moving, I promise you we have a lot of solutions for you.
Okay.
And then we've got over 110 accredited services now as well, which means they have completed their training and they've also updated their policies to reflect how the scheduling means that they reach the guidelines for the physical activity and screen time, which in turn improves the benefits for their kids' health.
Wow, so that's a huge take-in since, did you say since March, yeah?
Yeah, so that's since March.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, one thing I think that's really interesting is you were saying it's 10 years of research, but it's not just Uni of SA who's worked on this project, is it?
No, all my life, no. So we have a huge array of partners, and I'm talking everything from within the sector. So through every level, we have so we're partnered with people like the YMCA, Teen Kids, their care, but then we're also with the advisory group is also made up of people from NOSHA, ASIQA, boards like that. And we also have a couple of different universities partnered with us as well. I know there's one in America and a couple in New South Wales too. So we technically do have global reach, but there's a lot of different industry partners. And that was also the main goal with this, is that we got to work collaboratively with the industry. I know very briefly before we were talking about research translation. So it's all very well and good doctors and researchers sitting in an office and saying, well, this is happening, how do we fix it?
Yeah.
But then when we create something which can fix it, we have to make sure that everybody wants to use it, but also that you can.
Yeah.
Like, I personally have never worked in OSH, so there's no point in me telling you how that would look. So that's why that collaboration was so important to us. Yeah.
One thing that I was really impressed about when I was looking at the website, obviously you've done the research, you've got your data. I mean, I think we know, we've all seen the media, we know children are not moving as much as they used to and they're not having opportunities for outside play. But I think Active OSH has really moved beyond just that, as you said, academics in an office. You've gone, what is the problem? But then, like, your first port of call is you've got this great training resource, which we need to add is free. It does not cost a service to do this training. And you can sign up as many educators as you want. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah. So completely free. As I mentioned, it's got the training and all of the resources in there. And what you do is it's actually incredibly straightforward. You just sign up like you would as if you were creating a new email address or a new account to, I don't know, wherever works for you. Pop your email in and then you verify your email address and you just tell us if you're the coordinator or an educator at that service and which service you are at, so that we can make sure all your accounts are linked, and then you're good to go, but completely free. Yeah.
Wow. Okay, that's really good. Hey, in terms of research, What was the research focused on? And if you can highlight, was it on the deficiency of what happens if we don't play, or was it on the potential of what OSH could provide with this, or was it both? As in the what the space has the potential for versus what are the deficiencies if people don't play?
So, with the research, yeah. So, in answer to that question, it has altered over time. So as you'll see, we started off with an audit to see what was happening in OSH. As I mentioned, we felt, and there was a massive variety. That's what we found. We then had a bit of a look at what were the guidelines, how many kids were meeting physical activity in general. And we found, and it was also already published, that as little as 26% of kids reach the physical activity and screen time guidelines in general. That's not in an OSH service, that's just in general, which is nowhere near enough. I think, as you mentioned, Helen, we're all well aware of the benefits of physical activity now, but we're also well aware that kids aren't getting enough physical activity, which can be really detrimental, not just to them now, but also much later in life. So we started off there, and then we ended up basically creating the Activated OSH program. So we created the guidelines, then created the program. And from there, when we rolled out the program, that's where the results have come in directly from the impact we have on the services. And that's focusing more on the difference between individual services which did complete the program and engage with it, and those who didn't. And that's where you can see the biggest difference. So that's where we've found they're 7 times more likely to meet the National Physical Activity and Screen Time guidelines for OSH, which is fabulous. Overall, the coordinators and educators are less likely to offer screen time to kids, which is amazing. But also, and I think growing up in the 90s and 2000s in the UK, the staff here were 3 times more encouraging of physical activity, which is a massive thing. As I said, growing up when I did, there was never any negative, oh, your team lost, go and do burpees, go run a lap. Like that, you didn't see that after they completed the program. Luckily, it wasn't around a lot anyway, but this program really enhanced kind of what they were offering and how.
And I can also... Sorry, Helen.
Go. I'll go next.
So for those who are hearing this on verbally on a Spotify or any such platform, what we have in front of us is we have a slide where this information is available, and I can also see some quotations that some staff have said that switch being turned on, and that was especially younger staff who were like, "Oh, I get it now." So is it through the training that they attended the training and then they applied the training and they go, oh, hang on a sec, this is going good for both staff and children?
Yes, yeah. So the training basically takes place, it's no more than an hour, and it's different modules, 4 modules, which are broken down into different lessons. Now, the reason we've done it like that is that you can actually pause it. So say, I don't know, little Timmy falls over and you need to go over and help, that's not a problem. Or if you're doing it at home in your own time, fire alarm goes off, I don't know, you can go and sort it, it's not a problem. So the training basically also encompasses lots of different, some of it's like written, free text box, some of it's drag and drop, some of it is videos. But yeah, the part that you just mentioned is my favorite quote, obviously from the educators, because I feel quite strongly that the OSH sector doesn't always receive the support, and the staff don't always have the support that they should, or at least have the opportunity for that support. And as it says, a lot of the younger staff have found that actually when they do this, as we've previously mentioned, a lot of us know physical activity is good for your health. A lot of us know kids aren't getting enough physical activity. Well, that's great. But how do you then get them to do more? You know why they should, but what does that translation then look like? And particularly if you're fresh out of school or newer into college, that part can be quite difficult. So yeah, that's one.
So the training covers the how to do it.
Great minds, Sarah, because that's exactly where I was going to. That quote, and I think we need to read it because our listeners are not seeing the screen that we're looking at. It says, some of the staff said it was like a light switch being turned on, and that was especially the younger staff who were like, oh, I get it now. Now, I love that quote because we spend a lot of time talking about this, and Saurubh and myself have just been over at Wirra, where they also talk about professionalism in OSH. They talk about training in OSH. We know that one of our friends is just about to start doing a PhD in, what kind of training is there in OSH, and we know different states range so much. But I think the thing, yes, my true OSH advocacy is going to shine really bright right here. If there's ever any doubt for anybody, I love that this is a free training module that teams can do, and it's so effective. Because we know sometimes for different reasons there's not a budget there for training, there's just not the money, whereas in this it's free. You don't have to pay for that person to come in. We belong education. It's free. But I will also just note that
We Belong Education is not free, isn't it, Helen? Yeah, that's just a bad thing.
not that long ago, my own workplace, Three Bridges, started this Activated OSHC journey. And I was talking to my daughter the other day who works at one of our services, and I said, we're about to do a podcast with Activated OSHC. Tell me, how was the training? What did you think? Mm-hmm. I was trying to just, guide what I was going to talk about today. And she said, the training was really good. But what she took away most really surprised me, because it wasn't, it taught us how to run these physical activities. She said, it was really, really good. We went away as a team and we've done some reflection on some of the stuff we learnt, and we've actually changed some of our routines and how we utilize the outdoor space more, even for non-active activities.
Mm. Yes.
And I was like, wow, that's a really interesting takeaway.
Yeah, so with the training, I will quickly mention, as you said, it's free, it's all online. So long as you have an internet connection, you can do this anywhere. You can sign up to it here and then go on holiday and do it in Bali. Fabulous, you're all good. And you can complete it in several ways. So you can complete it on your own. You can complete it as a team and just let us know, and we can organize that on our end. So you don't all have to do it on your device together at the same time. You can actually just do it together. I am also currently, and I'm more than happy to do this for any of your listeners, if they want to reach out, we can organize and facilitate for myself to do the training online, which, Helen, that sounds like that might be, if you mentioned Three Bridges.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so I did their training not long ago.
Yeah.
And it's such a joy to be able to do, because every person comes out of that training with something different.
Yeah.
And every service is different. So obviously you use that example there, which is incredible, because a lot of services, some of them are already fabulous at this stuff, but it's just, we're not there to say you're doing this completely wrong. We're actually just there to kind of enhance and support. And that's kind of so, and that can be seen in that, so we've reevaluated how we're using the outdoor space. Which is awesome. It's really great to hear, actually. I'm going to go back and tell the team that.
Yeah.
I'm proud.
Yeah, that I agree with that too. It's nice when people can change their routine. That's actually a big feedback, because routine, the structure that we are sometimes the rigid structures that we've created, which may or may not include the television time, and now we have these opportunities to incorporate new training, which is absolutely free of cost, unlike We Belong Education. Those who don't know. I'm so glad that We Belong Education is not free. No, but Beth, also it's a commitment by Activated OSHC to provide that flexible self-paced training, but as well as you're available to kind of answer questions or run the training for the organization. So how does one get to it? So did they just Google Activated OSHC or OSHC and then they find out information, or how does that happen?
Yes, so you can, I'm again very proud of this. You can actually just Google Activated OSHC, so OSHC. I appreciate it's different depending on
Sorry, New South Wales OOSH, but that's all good. We know it's OSHC. Look at his face. So look at his face as I bring up OSH.
Oosh. Okay, I'm gonna
Osh.
admit today because I have been saying it and not like when I'm in front of my Sydney friends, I don't say it because then I don't want to get them offended because, as I said, my training is not free, so I want them to pay me eventually. So I don't say it, but today I'm gonna say it. Oosh sound like oops. Okay, Osh sound like posh. So Osh is good, and I do understand though.
Wow.
I like that.
Wow. You've just
All the
drawn
Sydney
an
people hate
even
me now.
greater divide between
That's
New
it.
South
That's
Wales
it.
and Queensland.
That's it. No more payment for Saurubh. However, I do appreciate where it came from. 1994 Phil Lesson, the document does mention Oosh. So Oosh came first. I appreciate that, and Osh is now the national way of putting it. But when I say Oosh, I'm like, posh, Osh. Come on, guys. Yeah, but
I like that.
yeah. So, but now since I've said it, we may edit it, we may not edit it, but Osh sound like posh. So therefore I stay with Osh. But yeah, okay. So that people don't get confused, guys, you can go to Activated OSHC on Google itself, and they just can follow the steps. Yeah.
Yeah, it will be the first one. Alternatively, the website, obviously, www.activatedosh.org.au.
Now, I have another question. You mentioned before that you also partnered with a CEQA. Does that mean, because I haven't done the training myself, I probably should have before we jumped in here today. Does that mean that is Activated OSH aligned with the national quality standards? Oh, that nod that you just did. It's every listener is singing a hallelujah chorus because this will help you in your assessment and rating, everybody.
Yes, so this is a massive thing. So I have to be kind of careful with the wording of partnered. They're on our advisory group board. So they have given us suggestions and really massive support along the way.
Okay.
Particularly because it's so important that, as I've said, us researchers sitting behind a desk all day, working away on our computers, make sure that what we have and what we offer you guys is supportive and helpful. So what we're really excited about is my colleague actually finished last week putting together a piece which we're going to send through to the advisory group. We have a meeting on Wednesday, and the chief investigator team, and then it will be published on the website, so as a free resource, and it breaks down for you the national quality framework. I believe that's the correct wording, Helen.
Yes.
I always say
framework you're right.
Yeah,
NQF and NQS being the standards. Yes.
Fabulous. There you go. And it takes each one which we support you with as Activated OSH. So you have the bullet point of what it is. You then have us telling you how Activated OSH support you. And then you have a paragraph underneath which gives you an example of what you can actually put within your paperwork for your quality guidelines and things like that. And look, I don't know what the rules are on this. If you want to copy and paste it, I have no problem. It is written so you can, but I don't know what the legalities on that are, so I bow out there. But
well done, Beth. Well done. You're like, look, I'm telling you this, but I'm also not telling you this.
Well, look, do what you want. I want to make your lives as easy as possible, but I do not know what the rules are on that.
No, and look, I think we think about it just that really operational context of when you're sitting in front of that screen, you've got the deadline because now we know it's only a week's notice, and yes, it's supposed to be a living document, but sometimes we always are running late. I think it's so useful just to have a resource where you can go and you can get a prompt. You can read what you've written and you can go, oh, actually, yep, I can see that, but this is how we do it in our service. Sometimes a prompt is just all you need when you're really drowning in that stress of pressing submit on that document. Also, I think sometimes we don't always realise everything we are doing. So to hear that there's a document which will really clearly show how we're meeting those different things is really helpful. Because we know time poor people, everything is helpful.
And Helen, your question about a CEQA or NQS or NQF, why is it so important? And I understand that when we have less time, we do need something straight away. But it is NQF and NQS were written for a reason, that there's an alignment. And if whatever we do, there is still those principles that we hold dear to ourselves. That's the national quality framework that we align our actions to. So all these ideas are great. Even in my training, which is not free, you do the
never
same
getting
thing.
over it now.
I'm never going to stop talking about it.
That'll be the new tagline.
Not
We
free
belong
training,
education,
we
not
belong
free.
education. Serb is listening to that. His greenies come from that money. Right? So it's like that. Anyways, so yeah, otherwise you can get all of these ideas, and so some of my really good friends are also consultants. We get great ideas, but then how do we align ourselves to what we stand for? So this is an important question, and it's a segue. And before the training started, I asked this question, and we kind of already had a discussion about it, but I'm just going to bring it up here, and then we're going to just say what could be possible. I am a committee member for ECA, Early Childhood Australia, also. So I work in OSH and OOSH also, because I love that, right, Helen? I work at OOSH too, and I also get to go to schools and long daycare. And many times the training that you just have mentioned, how it makes people aware of what it is, and therefore once you become aware of it, you have choices to change your routine. Or non-active part, like, because when one thing shifts, other things shift. So that got me thinking when we were having this discussion before the recording started, to say, hey, what about these kindy children, those who go there? And I know there are loads of research done in early childhood, way as compared to OSH, there is apparently is negligible. And I'm one of the researchers in OSH, so I absolutely appreciate that. And I just wondered, if this is such an important intake, and people are learning, the same kindy children are going to be in prep or in kindy of New South Wales. And what we say for Adelaide, we say prep. You also say prep, isn't it?
I think so.
Yeah, you also say, because Sydney says it kindy, and some people say reception or something. So I just what we kind of concluded is that at the moment that's not where we are. But because Helen mentioned the word CEQA and NQF and NC and NQF and NQS, those practices are also aligned with EYLF, Early Years Learning Framework. So NQS is staying for both. So therefore, it was important for me to kind of just hint that those who are listening to this, those parents or the people from early childhood learning, that there is a possibility that although the training may not be there at the moment, but yeah, there is a research being done about active and impact it has on children, and a resource is built, at least for OSH at the moment, which provides educators with the ability and can build their capacity on how to make it and how to enable it for their children and for the other staff members. So just wanted to just highlight that it's not there yet, but it may be there, but work has already been started at least.
Yeah, 100%. And so obviously Activated OSH currently, as we discussed pre-phone call, it is currently focused on the OSH services. However, it doesn't mean that eventually we won't end up reaching further than that. The goal of this is that it's research backed, it's research based. We're currently funded by several different grants. And once the research has concluded, Activated OSH isn't going anywhere. The goal is that we can keep this alive and moving. Kind of imagine SunSmart for me. You do your training, you get your sign, you get a sign with Activated OSH once you've completed your training. You get all of the same stuff, and that's kind of the goal, is that we can become this national accreditation body of physical activity and screen time practices in OSH, but it will also trickle ideally down and up as well, depending on, and sideways, left and right, can go everywhere.
Also at homes, those who are listening, I mean, physical activity is physical activity. People who work in these sectors are called educators, but when they are not at work, they are not educators. They are parents at home, or sisters at home, or brothers at home.
But speaking of home, Beth, you also mentioned that there's even resources on Activated OSH for newsletters for parents. What kind of things do people find in there?
So currently the ones which are uploaded are basically for the service to release, to inform the parents that they are completing the training and why they're doing it. And then once they've completed the training, to tell the parents, hey, we are now an Activated OSH, this is why, and this is what it's going to look like for you and for your kids moving forwards. And it's got things in it such as, and you can edit these as well, by the way, when you come to collect your kids during the summer between, I don't know, daylight savings or whatever it might be, come into the yard to find us, because that's where we'll be. We're not going to be inside. Things like that, kind of just slowly adjusting the parents to it. But again, we actually have the team at the moment. There's another Beth who works, so I'm Beth, there's another Beth, who's currently working on some resources. And one of them is we're really trying to piece together something for the parents, which helps to kind of enhance and support what the kids are doing in OSH and ideally learning in OSH into that home environment. So I'm not here to preach that screen time is the devil and it's awful for you. It's not, but it's everything in moderation. So how does that then translate at home? So we're putting together a resource that kind of explains about the quality of screen time. So are we just sitting and watching a movie? Or are we learning how to do, one of the examples on the training is, are we learning how to do the nutbush dance? Are we up? Are we active? Things like that. Another piece as well is really trying to explain the difference between physical activity and exercise. And that the goal is to be more physically active. When we say to people like, oh, kids should need to be more physically active, they often think we mean you have to take your kids to a park, they have to be running around, or they have to be playing soccer, excuse the Britishness, football for me.
That's fine. Or cricket, just I have to say that.
Yes, or cricket. Like it has to be a sport. And that's not what we mean. It can be as simple as going out and walking the dogs. It can be going to the park and running around. It can be free play. But it's just movement. It can be as simple as yoga. If you have kids who are overstimulated and they might have some behavioral issues or struggles, or even some kids just might lose their temper every now and then. Don't get me wrong, I know I do. We all get a bit angry sometimes.
I never do it, but okay.
Oh, of course. No.
But yeah, I think that misconception is so true that it's got to be formalized. So, my child does 5 hours of sports training, which is great if that's what that child is into, but also considering I can see the real value in that education point, because sometimes we don't realize that playing in the backyard is also physical activity.
100%.
And so some parents, they might be meeting those goals and their child might, have a really great balance, but they don't realize. So it could be really validating for some of our parents in our service to realize, wow, I'm doing a great job. My child is actually more active than I thought, because they do play out in the backyard quite often. I know when my kids were little, the trampoline was just never not in use. So, and that's really active, but it's not formalized.
Yes. 100%.
One of the things that I wrote down on my thing, and I think I just want to bring it up here, is none of these are absolute statements that this must happen in this manner. It's a research. It's a possibility. There is evidence. And the thing about research is at times it feels like it's always ongoing. You find new things, and you it's like an action research. You do at your service and go, oh, this didn't work out. Oh, let me do it this way. And then you go give that feedback to the team with Beth and say, hey, we are doing it this way. What do you reckon? And then it becomes a part of the training. So for, because depending upon OSH in itself is not an independent body. It is affected by schools also. It is affected by, just like schools, it is affected by weather and other conditions. So an OSH in vacation care has a different type of a nature to it than OSH in after school, because we don't know what sort of days children had at school that day. So to then say, okay, what we are is now we are activated OSH service, so we must do X, Y, Z in this manner or that manner. And that's where the diversity or inclusion comes into action, to say, some days this might be required, some days that might be required. So when we are getting trained, it's not about, oh, there's another ideology that we have to follow as an absolute statement, but rather, I'm just assuming, and correct me if I'm wrong, but rather a possibility that exists with empirical research of what's the benefit of that is. And as educators, we can facilitate an environment where this could happen. Especially on those days, we might have to manipulate a little bit on those days where children are really tired, like if they had that summer camp or other thing, the cross country training and all that. Yeah.
Yeah,
Mm,
yeah, 100%. And that's the goal of the program is it's to give that education and awareness around it. It's
mm,
not, as you said, it's not to be like, this is right and wrong. That's
mm,
not what we're about. As I
mm,
mentioned before, everything in moderation
mm,
um is fine. So the only thing which is absolute for the training, we have two things. The
mm.
first one is that you have to do 50% of your educators have to have completed the training.
Okay.
The reason that is 50% is because we appreciate, having worked very closely with this sector, the staff turnover. You've got casual staff, you may or may
Yeah.
not have budget for more staff
Mm,
training. We get that.
mm,
50%, you're done.
mm.
And then your policy has to state that you will meet the guidelines, which I can talk you through.
Mhm,
But so basically, before school care, have to have a minimum of 45 minutes physical activity,
mhm,
no more than 30 minutes screen time.
mhm,
After school care, 90 minutes physical activity, no more than an hour screen time.
mm.
Vacation care, 2 to 3 hours physical activity, no more than 2 hours of screen time.
Sounds reasonable.
Yeah, and to clarify around that, they can be completely broken up. So you might do an
Yeah.
hour physical activity in the morning and 2 hours in the afternoon in
Mm,
vacation care,
mm,
or like whatever that looks like for you. Also, if your service doesn't already offer screen time, you do not need to. That is
okay.
not
Yeah.
the point to
You
this.
don't have to bring it in. Yeah.
No.
This is uh, again, there's so many variations, not variation, but there's so many variables out here in terms of training and awareness of what educators know about their own children.
Mhm.
Again, the 90 minutes, oh sorry, 1 hour in the afternoon, and then and observing a child and realizing that maybe today it might be 1 hour, 5 minutes, but we don't have to lose connection because of that. We don't have to start fighting a child. We don't have to grab the iPad and say, that is it, time's up, timer's on. All of that is so crucial. Like while we listen to all of these things, and I'm just picturing some educators who might have done one sort of training, come from one ideology, but not the other sort of trainings. They might feel like, oh, I've been told to do this. So therefore it is really nice to know. And I guess that's all is covered in the training in itself when they listen to the training on how to enable it and how to put a stop to it, and create agreements with children. So they is this training also available, or do you reckon there is a possibility of 15 or 10-minute video for children? That, hey, why are we doing this? Is that already there?
So, super interesting and exciting stuff here. Interesting that you mentioned it. It currently isn't a
Okay.
thing with
Mm,
Activated OSH. However, we are currently in the process of applying for further research grants
mm.
and things to develop what I keep coining Activated OSH 2.0 or
Okay.
3.0 now.
Right.
And that is definitely something which we have heard from the sector time
Mm,
and time again. We need to be able to make this include the kids more.
mm.
So you're not coming in from an authoritarian standpoint and saying, this is what you're doing, which you can't do enough anyway, because
Yeah.
the kids have to have their own autonomy.
Mm,
But also, rather than just going, well, we're going to go outside. Why? Well, because it's good for you. Why?
mm.
Make it exciting, make it fun, bring it
Yeah.
to their level.
Hmm.
And that's something that we're wanting to look at. So we're going to
Yeah.
be further enhancing that side of the educator training,
Yeah.
but definitely also it's on the
Yeah.
cards that we'd like to put together. To be honest, even like a 10-minute video,
Mm,
just kind of explaining to the kids,
yeah.
especially because if services, and we are finding less and less services offer screen time now, but
Mm,
if a service does offer screen time unlimitedly, to then come in and go, actually, we're going to start putting a bit of a barrier on this. It can sometimes kids can be a bit like, oh, well, why? No
Yeah.
kid
It's a
likes
big shakeup.
change.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm,
And if that's like their safety net and things like that, it can feel quite daunting to
yeah.
begin with.
Mm,
Now, good news is I can confirm we've heard from every service that we've ever trained with, in no more than 2 weeks, the kids no longer ask for the screens
that's amazing. Mm,
because they know the routine, they
mm,
understand why. But also I think having that video to start with for the kids and just be like, this is why we're doing it, and maybe answer some of the questions that the educators or coordinators might not know the answer to or might not know how to answer.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Would be really supportive. But yeah, something we're in
Yeah.
the works and very excited about, as you can probably tell.
Because I attended one of the Helen's training session. I think it was last year in February or January, Helen, where you mentioned where you were talking about friendship, but you had children in your slides talking about friendship.
Mm.
And then although you're talking to the adults about friendship among children, you communicated that understanding through the active participants of your research or of your talk. Yes? Am I?
We've always got to go straight to the SMEs. They're the subject matter experts. Who better to ask these questions than children? I think one thing I want to raise, though, just to jump back a little bit, because I'm always, obviously it's only the three of us in this room, but there will be people listening in their cars on their way home. It's not demonizing screen time. It's not saying no screen time is good. And I think, as we know, a lot of our OSHC educators, coordinators, directors, whatever your title is, because it's so varied, they're pretty much champs at knowing their children. And, and some days it's not, I suppose, putting rose-colored glasses on and just going, this is how it is and that's it. Some days there will be those days, because I know I've had them when I've worked on the floor in OSHC, where the children were out at cross country all day and they came back and you could feel it. It was like, okay, we're just going to put a cartoon on for half an hour because some of the kids need to just lie down and just have a break. It's not saying you can't do that. It's just, I think what I like about this training is it brings an awareness. And often that is the biggest challenge we have in OSHC, is that some people don't have an awareness. And that's why I love that quote on the slide you showed, where especially with the younger educators, it turned a light bulb on, because sometimes it's just not having an awareness and just knowing what you can do or how you can do it. Because I also know I think you mentioned it earlier, but we didn't really touch on it. You've also got information packs on how to run different activities. Is that right?
Yes. Yep. So particularly once you're an accredited service, you get access to a whole range of, we'll call them locked resources prior to your accreditation. Once you're accredited, there's a different activity pack that's going up with every newsletter, and we're doing a newsletter a term, and they have about 10 different activities in. And there's all sorts of things. My current favorite is, what's it called? It's Sea Monster Tracy. Beth put it together, and it's kind of like tag, but it's a bit of a stick in the mud type. Anyway, she's got fabulous imagination for different games and things.
And one thing I want to add, supplement or complement what Helen said. Whilst we are not demonizing screen time, when we become aware, we critically look at what we do. So yes, screen time is not good or bad, as Beth had already mentioned. There's nothing good or bad. But why do we do it? Do we have the answer to that? Or do we do it because there is lack of other activities to do? Or do we do it because my previous managers did it? Or do we do it because I want to do it? And if the agency, if the things ends up at, I want to do it, therefore I do it, then I need to make you aware that there's another possibility. Do we do it just because children are asking me? But they might be asking because they don't know the other possibilities either. So by doing training, free or not free, you become aware of why do we do what we do. And as long as we are honest to ourselves for that, it's fun. Otherwise, we just follow someone blindly. So yeah, we've got a lot today. I just want to recap and see if there's any points you want to add, Beth or Helen, if you had any question that come to your mind. So I was looking at what is Activated OSHC, a free training, why it came along, because of that statement, which kind of prompted like, well, hang on, what happens in OSHC? We also learned that 100 is it 100 plus accredited services now?
110.
110 plus. Oh, that's amazing. Yeah. Since March this year. So that's a big intake. And we also learned that it's free, self-paced. And Helen mentioned how those who are taking part in it, they are not only just learning about that, but they're also learning about how else can they, what sort of routine changes can occur. We looked at how it is not a rigid program. It is a program which makes you aware of something. It's not demonizing the other side of it, but it's just saying, hey, have you considered this? But yeah, that's what I learned today. Helen, is there anything that you want to add, or you reckon that I've covered this?
Look, again, let me put my advocate hat on and my cheerleader, my pom-poms. I'm just super excited that there is access to free training. Sorry, Dr. Malviya. And that, and what I'm hearing is really great. And at Three Bridges, we have 19 services, and I'm sure that all of those services that have participated have had different takeaways and different team reflections per site. So I like that it's not, and you've even mentioned it as we've spoken through this last hour or so, that it's not a cookie cutter. It's about, kind of what works for you. It's just some resources. And we know that the doctor has brought up early years a few times, but we do have to just lean right into, because I'm really Team Whoosh today, that, this is really great. There is a lack of Whoosh specific resources. So I'm excited, yell it from the rooftop. Everyone check out Activated Whoosh. It's an Whoosh specific resource. It's not, as a lot of Whoosh educators do, we jump on and we try and, tweak an early years something to make it work for school age, or we're looking at primary school stuff, it's like school stuff to tweak. So I just really love this is actually specific for Whoosh. It's easily accessible. It doesn't have a cost. I'm going to say that so many times. It does, and also that you are continually refreshing. It's not we did it in 2024 and it's never going to be updated again. You're still consistently making updates and changes and access to new resources.
Exactly.
Here we go. That's my bit.
And I just wanted to add this. There is no, as a philosopher, there is no free training. You always have to give your time.
Oh.
Well, hopefully it's time well
just
spent.
well spent. And no, I mean, because she's having a go at me. So but Beth, is there anything that you want to add to this? There's of course we can always go Activated OSHC on the Google to start doing it, get the ball rolling. And also we will be uploading, when we upload this podcast, there will be links to that in the caption. Is there anything that, Beth, you would like our audience to know about this program?
So, a couple of things, and then I will let us all wrap up. I'm very sorry. I think really just to emphasize, Helen, what you were saying, something that when I'm presenting, I often say, and I actually am quite proud I didn't say this line today, but I'm going to get it in now. Activated OSHC was created for the sector, with the sector. So as you were saying about taking a program and altering it, that is not what our goal was. We have spent hours, and I can't even begin to tell you the amount of man and woman power that has gone into this to make sure that it's directly works for the OSH sector.
Yes.
As I mentioned before, as we've discussed, there's loads of collaborators. So it was made for the OSH sector, really by the OSH sector. That's the easiest way of explaining it. And the final thing, which I have to tell you guys, so I'm very proud of us, on Friday, we won the Excellence in Collaboration and Innovation Award at the 2025 South Australian Science Excellence and Innovation Awards.
Wow. Okay.
Congratulations.
Perfect. Yes. We will take that
so
too.
we need to add it to an award-winning program.
It's an award-winning program.
Ooh, yes.
So let me start the whole podcast again. Welcome back for award-winning program Activated OSHC from University of South Australia. Thank you, Beth, for taking the time and the time that you have, you and your team and Carol Maher, Professor Carol Maher have spent on creating this amazing resource for the community, for the sector, and the time that you continue to give along with this time that you've given to us. This podcast is definitely free. That's the We Belong Education commitment to the free thing that we give. So if you want free training, please contact them. If you have a cash flowing and you don't know what to do with it, you can contact me. But it's an amazing program. Thank you very much for sharing what it is, why it is, how people can join in. and what are some nuances that when they become a part of it. We would love to learn, those who are or those who have already done this program. If you can email us, or when you see this podcast, when people send us Instagram or Facebook messages, I love it. I know that they're listening to these things, and also send them an email, send Beth an email to say, we heard you and we did this, or that would be a really good feedback from you guys.
Or follow-up podcasts. Let's
get by the way, sorry, follow the podcast for free resources on We Belong Education.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, we need to move on from that. That was a shout out for, we want to hear from people. Let's do a follow-up podcast with actual services that are using Activated OSHC. Let's hear how you are using it in your space.
Yes. Oh, sorry. I'm a good listener otherwise, but sometimes I just don't. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for listening to the listeners, to Beth and to Helen, for 3 different time zones. We made it happen. And look after yourself and the people you love from the team at We Belong Education Podcast. It's a goodbye. Thank you.
See you later.
So